Long before the roads were cut through the forest, before radios spoke louder than elders, there stood a village called Koray, resting between a river that never slept and a forest that remembered everything. The people of Koray believed in many things: hard work, respect for elders, and the power of silence. But above all, they believed in the drum of Oro, an ancient drum kept in a small mud shrine at the edge of the village. The drum was not played for celebration, not for weddings, not even for war. It was said the drum spoke only when danger was near. Generations ago, the elders said the drum saved the village from fire, flood, and famine. But as time passed, belief grew thin. The young people laughed when the elders spoke of it. Old stories for old bones, they said. Only Baba Galati, the oldest man in the village, still sat every evening near the shrine, listening. And only Ao, a quiet boy of 14, ever joined him. Ao was not strong. He was not loud. But he listened. While others chased goats and argued over games, Ao sat still, watching the river, watching the trees, watching people. People called him the boy who hears too much. They did not know how true that was. It began on a night when the moon hid behind thick clouds. The village slept early. The air felt heavy, like breath held too long. Dogs whimpered instead of barking. Even the insects were quiet. Ao lay on his mat when he heard it. Boom, boom, boom. Slow, deep, uneven. He sat up. The sound did not come from the village square. It did not come from any home. It came from the shrine. Ao's heart raced. No one played the drum of Oro. No one dared. Yet the sound came again. Boom, boom. Ao wrapped his cloth around his shoulders and ran through the dark. His feet knew the path even when his eyes could not see. When he reached the shrine, he froze. The drum stood alone. No hands touched it. Yet it beat. The sound felt alive, like a warning, not to the ears, but to the bones. Ao fell to his knees. Please, he whispered, not knowing to whom. I hear you. The drum fell silent. At dawn, Ao ran to the elders' meeting place. His voice shook as he told them what he heard. The elders looked at one another. Some frowned. Some smiled politely. Some laughed. One man waved his hand. It was thunder in your head, boy. Another said, children dream loudly. Only Baba Galati did not laugh. He closed his eyes. How many beats? He asked. Ao swallowed. 5, then 3. The old man's face changed. That is the rhythm of warning, he said softly. The elders shifted uncomfortably. Still, the village did nothing. Why fear an old drum when the skies were clear and the crops were tall? Days passed. Then strange things began to happen. The river rose without rain. Fish floated dead near the banks. The wind changed direction, blowing hot instead of cool. Hunters returned early, uneasy. Birds left the forest in great numbers. Again, at night, the drum sounded. This time, others heard it, but they pretended they did not. Fear is easier to ignore when it demands change. Ao went again to the elders. Please, he said. The drum is not playing for nothing. The chief sighed. If we panic, we weaken the village. So they chose calm over caution. And the drum continued to speak. On the 7th night, Baba Galati called Ao to his hut. My son, he said, his voice thin like dry leaves. The drum does not predict disaster. It remembers it. Ao leaned closer. Long ago, the old man continued. Our ancestors angered the forest by cutting deeper than they should. The land answered with fire. Ao's eyes widened. The drum warned them, Baba Galati said. Those who listened survived. Those who laughed were buried. Ao felt cold. What do we do? He asked. The old man placed a trembling hand on Ao's shoulder. You must make them listen. The warning came too late. One afternoon, the sky turned the color of ash. A dry wind roared through the trees. Sparks rose from the forest edge, first small, then hungry. Fire. People screamed. Children cried. Goats broke loose. The flames moved fast. Driven by the wind no one respected. Panic scattered the village. But above the chaos, one sound rose strong and steady. The drum of Oro. This time, it beat loudly, urgently, calling, guiding. Ao ran to the shrine. The drum did not frighten him anymore. It spoke direction. He remembered the old stories about the river path, the open clearing, the safe ground. Ao climbed onto a rock and shouted with all his strength. To the river path. Follow the drum. Some hesitated. Then the fire leapt closer. They followed. The people ran as the drum beat faster. Boom, 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 boom. It led them away from the forest, toward the open lowlands where fire could not trap them. Smoke burned their eyes. Heat chased their backs. But the drum never stopped. When they reached safety, the fire passed the village without swallowing lives, only huts and pride. At dawn, silence returned. The village still stood. So did the people. The elders gathered, heads bowed. The chief stood before Ao. "Forgive us," he said. "We heard, but we did not listen." The drum of Oro never played again after that night. It had spoken. Its work was done. From that day, the people taught their children a new saying: wisdom does not shout. It beats quietly until someone listens. Ao grew older. He became a guide, not because he was loud, but because he listened. And whenever the wind changed, the people remembered. Some warnings come as sound. Some come as silence. But disaster never arrives without first knocking. If this story touched you, listen closely. Wisdom is speaking. Subscribe for more African stories that carry truth, culture, and hope. If this story spoke to you, subscribe for more African stories.